Hello, International Bears. Welcome to a special podcast, Global Den Diaries.
Ooh.
Your friendly guide to navigating life at Missouri State University.
Yes, indeed. So we're here to make sure that your transition is as smooth and enjoyable as possible. So think of us as your first friends on campus aside from your glam mentors.
And yes, Kadesh, I think every international student has been assigned a glam mentor.
Yeah.
So please, International Bears, please do well to respond to their emails and messages. My name is Christabel Carl Ante, and I am a graduate assistant at International Programs.
And I'm Kadash Jonathan Clouden, one of the administrative assistants at the International Services Office. And so throughout this podcast series, you'll be sharing information from academics to social life to, I guess, how to navigate homesickness, everything within that cultural sphere of Springfield, Missouri, here at Missouri State University.
And I think today we will be talking about a very important topic, and that is housing. Okay, so let's dive deep into it. Okay, so before you arrive in Springfield, Missouri, okay, we do have two housing options available to you. The first is on-campus housing, and then the second is off-campus housing. So, Kadesh, what information do you have for us regarding on-campus housing?
So nice. I mean, on-campus housing, of course, we're from international places, so we're traveling thousands of miles away. And so let's start with on-campus housing. So this is where I guess it's more close to on-campus, close to everything else. But specifically for students who are under the age of 21, due to university policy and for your own safety, you're required to leave on campus to explore the residence options on campus.
And we do have like various residence hall available on
few,
campus, from Freddy's to Hammond's House to Blair Shannon, to Sangrila Apartment to Monroe Apartments. There are a lot. These apartments or halls do have different features that you could choose from. So you go through the Missouri State website, specifically Residence Live. Yes, you would have access to view all these residence hall and apartments and all the features that come with it. So you feel comfortable choosing which one is more suitable to your taste or preference, honestly.
Nice. And I think what's interesting about these apartments or these resident halls, is that they feature mainly living spaces, so bedrooms and bathrooms and such like that. So there aren't any kitchens in these resident halls. So it's important that you also get the meal plans that are attached to these halls. This ensures that you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And of course, if you're getting a snack between classes, these dining halls are there for you. That goes hand in hand with the resident hall.
And if you decide to stay on campus, these meal plans are mandatory, and it is not added to your residence hall cost. It is a separate cost, so you have to keep that in mind as well. So, Kadesh, what other things or requirements do you think would need to live on campus?
Well, aside from the meal plan and getting stuff to eat, it is required for students to be vaccinated when you live in the residence hall.
It is the meningitis vaccination. So before you arrive in Springfield, make sure you keep that on top of your list to have the meningitis vaccine. Before you move in, it is required. You could take it on campus as well as our health center. They do administer that vaccine as well. So,
I think for those who've already had the meningitis vaccine, if you have it on your vaccination card, you can bring it with you, and we can add it to your file as being checked off for having that vaccination.
Yes, that is right.
And then one last thing we have here for on-campus housing is that deposit.
Housing deposit. That is refundable, but you just pay it before you move in.
Well, it secures your spot,
Kinda.
I mean, want to make sure you have that option. Nice. So that's on-campus housing. Let's transition a bit more now to
off-campus housing.
And so this is where the grad students get to go to do their own thing. We're not required to live on campus, but yet so that is an option if you would like to be a bit closer to campus. So off-campus housing, there's a few things that we want you all to understand, to think of as you navigate this new area of housing options. And so the first thing on our list here is leasing or leasing terms. Okay, so Christopher, tell us a bit more about leasing.
So, leasing basically means it's a legally binding document between yourself and the leasing company or your landlord for a period of time, okay? So this document, legally binding, I keep saying legally because
it's legally binding.
Yes, you need to abide by those terms. So before you sign or commit to any lease, you make sure that you have gone through the requirements and the terms and the amount that you need to pay and all of that during for your leasing period. Some international students do, make mistakes when it comes to, signing leasing agreements. Okay, you are not allowed to sign two leasing documents.
Because then that's two legally binding contracts that you have to fulfill.
Yes, so if you don't understand anything in your leasing documents, the leasing officers are always available to assist you and make you understand and answer your questions. I mean, we are coming from different countries. Renting apartments and houses can be very different. So make sure you ask questions.
But not only that, I think all of them offer like deals, like, oh, sign today and you get this deal, or sign today. Sometimes they may feel as though they're rushing you to sign this lease, but again, be confident in yourself and only sign once you've read and you've understood what's required of you for those leasing agreements.
I agree with you, Kadesh.
Yeah. What's next on the list? I think we have security deposit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
What is that?
Oh, am I sharing on this one? So with security deposits, because we're international students, we don't have a credit history, and that's a big thing in the U.S. having a credit history, which I guess they check to see how willing or capable you are of paying what you're required to. And so because we don't have a credit history as international students, we're usually required to pay a security deposit or a conditional deposit, or I think we'll get into later on guarantors. This guarantees to the leasing company that we can pay or rent. So if it is that you're a new incoming international student, we don't know who you are, we don't know where you're coming from, or if you have a history of paying your debts. But by paying your security deposit, it guarantees in essence, it gives you the opportunity of being vouched for, that you can cover your rent. Because I think at the end of the day, they want to make sure that you can pay your rent if you're signing a lease with this agreement. And so tell us a bit more about the guarantor, because I think it's a bit different.
Yes, it is a bit different. So you could choose to either go with paying a deposit or a security deposit, or having a guarantee that you will be paying your rent on time and your utilities on time. So they kind of take the responsibility that in case you are not able to fulfill your leasing agreement, they would come in or step in to help you make that payment. So that is also another option. So you make sure that you're paying your lease or bill on time, so you don't put whoever that has guarantee for you in trouble.
Yeah, because it's kind of like a co-signing.
Co-signing,
they take part of the responsibility.
The responsibility.
So you definitely want to ensure too that that's a person within the U.S. who has a credit history that can vouch for you in terms of signing this leasing.
That is right.
Yeah, I think next on our list is utilities. So she mentioned earlier being able to read your leasing document. So what is utilities in this case?
So utilities is basically like your bill, light bill, water bill sometimes. Sometimes it is not included in your rent. So you need to understand that before you, like I said, sign any document. It is most people have the utilities included in their bill at the end of the month, others do not. So you need to keep that in mind and make sure you pay utilities on time.
Definitely. Next on our list is roommates. Ooh. I guess I could take this one. So again, because we're international students, and the housing options that they have off campus, majority of them in this area are student housing. So student housing in essence is that you're paying for your bedroom space and your bathroom. but you share like a kitchen and a living room space.
Yeah.
You know, so you could have a suite of 4 persons, which is 4 bedrooms, each with their own bath, and you'll share the kitchen and living space. So the interesting thing about that is if you're coming with a group or you have friends that are coming with you, you can lobby to have them as your roommates in your
and that works for most people, honestly.
Yeah, but in other cases they do have random assignments available, which it could be a good opportunity sometime,
to meet other people.
Immerse yourself in American culture or other international student cultures. But definitely explore that option if it is something that you feel comfortable doing. But then it comes down to if you're going for a 4-bedroom or a
3-bedroom or 2-bedroom.
So again, it really is up to the options that are available to you and what you're financially willing to pay for. Right? Before we conclude this episode, the one thing I wanted to mention one more time, when we look at those dining halls with on-campus employment, it's important to look at the ones that provide housing throughout
the year.
Because some of them close like during the winter break or close during summer break, and it's really for sanitary reasons to get in there and clean out. So that's definitely something to think about when exploring housing options
on campus.
But what else are we missing, Christabel?
I think we have basically covered everything, honestly, Kadesh. And I'm really excited for our other videos on some important topics. So we really hope that this video was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at internationalservices@missouristate.edu and follow us on Instagram at MoStateGlobal.
Definitely. So that brings this episode to an end. We thank you again for listening, and be sure to stay tuned for more updates from the Global Den Diaries.
Until next time, bye.
Bye, guys.